This call is being recorded.
All right. So, uh, please don't hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions whatsoever. I'm glad to see your son is actually in Cancer. So, um, this definitely makes for already a very special reading. But right off the bat, oh, there we go. There we go. Let me finish that. San Diego. Please don't hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions that you want to ask at all whatsoever.
Oh, I
And
will. Don't worry about it.
uh, and yeah, other than that, we do see that you have your moon in Leo and your rising in Capricorn. That's not only awesome, but we also see you are an alien. You're a part of Alien Gang. That's amazing. Specifically Neptune that is on your Capricorn rising, which is definitely one of the more powerful constructs. In this sense, giving you the ability to reflect the inherent God and goddess within each human being, uh, disconnect negative cords from chakras of others, expertly lead meditation, assist the dying and crossing over, even down to projecting invisibility onto another, but mainly being an instrument of this astral realm power in Capricorn. So it could also lead to you naturally developing lucid dreaming and astral projection ability. Uh, it's very powerful, regardless. And now that we, of course, are getting ready to enter Capricorn season, will be your ability to realistically, tap into so much more. So, regardless, let me see. Yeah. Oh, okay, nice. Regardless, this definitely goes a long way. Uh, as a Cancer sun, 22 degrees. Uh, that Pluto opposition must have been very difficult. And as soon as
Sir, let me tell you, like my whole life has changed
And
since
I just
then.
appreciate that. There's not a single Cancer I ask that to, and they don't give me an extreme reaction. Or they're like, "Whoo!"
I'm like,
Seriously.
yo. I'm like, yo, someone free me from these shackles. God damn.
And
You
like,
know?
I feel like to everyone else, people think you be overreacting, and it's like, no, they're trying to kill you. Like it's Pluto
Yeah.
trying to.
That's it. Oh my, that's hilarious. Oh my god.
So
Oh my god.
I really appreciate your confirmation in that regard. I was
Yes.
like, and all power to you because like that is not easy though. So
It was not. It was not. A lot of death. A lot of death around. That was hard. I was like, death to me, death to family, like everybody. I was like, yo, I feel like I've been through the gauntlet. You
yeah,
know? Like it's been crazy. Like when I'm thinking of that, I mean, for me, like, I mean, I was gonna ask you. Sorry, I mean, I'm interrupting, but like
go ahead.
the North Node. So I've kind of been studying this on my own, but like you're my first person that I've actually gone to, like, to get
Nice.
a reading.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm like,
I'm honored.
yo, this is kind of cool. So like this North Node, when it went into like the Gemini, when it switched out, like yo, like this Sagittarius 12th house, like South Node transit has been insane. I don't know what, like that's the
Thank you
one thing
so
I was
much
like,
for saying that.
tell me about this, like, because I'm like, it's crazy. Like I feel like I was like in the upside down, or
Do
we're
you
living
feel
in
like
the
you're in the
upside down.
Twilight Zone?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I'm like, oh, that's like my biggest question, because I have that like Saturn, Uranus in the 12th house like going on, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, and obviously Saturn rules my chart, so I'm
Right.
like, I don't know what's going. Like I feel like either I'm like I'm a psychic or a psychopath. Like I don't know what's going on.
No, I needed to hear that because the 12th house is potentially one of the most difficult placements, especially for outer planets, because it's putting first of all, it makes you like transcendently psychic. So like you're too psychic. But the hardest thing about it is it's unconscious. So you're not even going to really see where it's coming from. I think for the
Mhm.
longest time, you can think it's outside of you. Like maybe it's just weird coincidences, but it's actually always triggered by you. And
Mhm.
what this South Node transit did was fully unlock it so that now
Okay.
you're starting to see it so much more, predictably and in a way that you can influence. And this is the thing. So I love that you said, are you psychic or psychopath? The 12th house is also the house of sabotage and undoing. So
Mhm.
in the event where it's not necessarily uh refined or understood, it can lead to, as a Sagittarius rising, being so unconsciously drawn to wanderlust and being in literally your own visual world. I mean, Saturn is there, but like it will kind of manifest as this restlessness that takes you away from being the organized Capricorn rising. But
For
really, it's the height of your own supernatural magic. That was actually the first thing I saw after I saw Neptune. I'm like, damn, she got the Saturn on Uranus in the 12th. Like that is insane. So like, and I say it's insane because I love the 87-88 conjunction here because y'all are legitimately here to bust the system. So there's
That's how
certain
I
elements.
feel.
Thank you. There's certain elements of it that actually have to be crazy relative to the context we're in now that's outdated and needs to be like done for or like
Yes.
innovate, right?
Mhm.
So it's gonna actually feel crazy because it's not the new normal yet. It hasn't been innovated. But in the
For
12th
sure.
house, you're applying this to the spiritual beliefs around philosophy. And now I'm so glad you said that about the nodes, because the reason why I asked if it was like the Twilight Zone, especially with your North Node and Pisces, is this is now unlayering the frequencies that you've always seen, which travel faster than the human brain can process, but now have unlayered to where it's like you're seeing what's hidden in plain sight. And
Mhm.
it may be it may be it has put you in a position to completely like integrate a whole new perspective around your behavior and lifestyle. The best way I can say this is it's using the resources of your supernatural magic in order to align with this enlightened connection with angels, or integrating enlightenment and prayer into your routine. And to make even
Mhm.
greater sense of that, because I love how you said your ruling planet is here in the 12th. That, in a sense, links your karma to the less fortunate, to those in prisons, mental hospitals, but also the psychologically ill that you see in anyone. Because once again, it doesn't have to really even be a bad thing. It's just the 12th house is so misunderstood. It could
Mhm.
it could be hard for you to really, let's say in the context of a 9 to 5 job. I'm sure you can work a 9 to 5 job, but you're definitely not meant to.
I know. Well, tell me about it. I was like, that's like been my struggle forever. Like I've always known that, but like yeah, like being in it. Like obviously I work from home right now. Like I'm just an assistant.
Oh, that's
Like
awesome.
but like it sucks. Like I'm like I am not meant for this. You
No,
know,
seriously.
like
Like, okay, the outer planets actually cock block you and job block you because
there you go.
the ruler of your career is literally Hades. Like you can't an employer
Yes.
an employer can't tell the god of the underworld what to do. Will just death stare them. And now your employer got no car. Like it's totally
Fact.
irrational. So like if you were to get a job, Uranus would literally just get you fired randomly. Like you're not. And like
Oh my
and
gosh.
and
Yeah.
like it'd be hard for you to explain to people, yeah, the planets, they just don't want me to, right? Like people would think that's crazy. So it's
Yes,
like,
exactly. I'm just like, oh my god, like, that part sucks. This is like the one thing, but it's like, but also like the Capricorn in me is like the one who could like. The thing is, I've never been like fired like from jobs. Like they like
uh,
me because I'm responsible,
right,
right?
right.
Like I am responsible, but like to my own detriment, you know. Like I need
Oh
to be
wow.
responsible. Like I feel that way, but I'm like, yo, I hate this. Like I don't want to be this way. Like I don't want to have this like structured life. Like, I don't feel that way, right? Like, but like that Capricorn thing, it's like I'm the overachiever. Like, I do all these things. Like, everything has been
You're
like
the goat.
growing up. Like, I was like that, right? Like, but there's a piece of me that's always been like, no, like I'm not meant for this, or I'm meant to maybe like bring some type of structure to like the craziness, right? Because I always feel like I'm into like all these mystical, magical like things, right? Like that nobody else is like into. Like, I'm like the only one like into it, but like it's like how does that work? It does not work in this world, right? Like, that
I
doesn't
love
work
that.
here,
Yeah.
right?
And
What do we do?
remember, you are an alien technically, so you're not from this world.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like, okay, so this is something like random about me, but random fact. Like, I'm a super like hardcore Michael Jackson fan, and it's funny because like
Oh,
knowing
that's
like,
amazing.
I mean, obviously I have Michael Jackson's like a Virgo and like Pisces. I think he has a Pisces rising or
So
Pisces moon.
he's actually a part of your past life.
Yeah, like I love it. Like like as a child, like, and I've just been like the one person that's like, obviously Michael Jackson's before my time, right? But like I've always like just like been like, oh my God, like I love him, you know, like I love like his mission and everything he's doing, you know, like, and even regardless of all the like controversies, I don't believe all that, but like, you know, I'm like, that is like what I want to be. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's like my path. And to see that, like, even when I think of like Kanye, right? Because Kanye always brings up Michael Jackson, and I'm like, Kanye has the Pisces moon, right? And like Kanye's like, I mean, I have a Gemini Venus, so obviously I love the Gemini. Like, I'm on with you. You're a Gemini.
Thank you.
So I'm following these things. Like, I didn't know obviously until I started into astrology like 2 years ago. But like, I was like, that's like so interesting to see that. Like, I'm like, oh, I was like, Michael Jackson's my path, right?
No,
like that Pisces, you know. I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing I'm word vomiting right now, but like that's like kind of how I feel. You know, like I'm just like, oh my God, like this is just so crazy. That's why I've gotten into astrology like this past, like, okay, here, I'm gonna go on another rant. So like the reason why I'm really even into it like that is because like, what is it, 2 years ago my grandpa passed away. And he like I love him. He's my hero, like my like North Star. Like, I followed him. He's a Leo, right? And it's funny because his birthday is the same birthday as this guy that I loved from high school that I met when I was 16. And he's a Leo. They're born on the same day, right? So like, and I never knew that. I wasn't into astrology when I was young, but like when I first saw him, like if I were to describe like one, like a psychic experience I've ever had in my life was meeting this boy, right? Like, I felt crazy when I first met him. Like, I was like there's something about him, but I didn't know like his birthday or anything either, right? And my grandpa he's the guy that I always wanted to be. Like, you know, when you think of like kids, like, oh, they want like be with someone like their dad, right? Or like, you know, like a guy wants to be like, marry someone that's like their mom, right? Like something like that. But like for me, it's been my grandpa, right? So like the fact that I like saw this boy, like, and I was like, had this type of experience that I can't describe. It's like floating. Like, I'm like, who is this? Like, what is this? Like, my spirit like recognized you, right? And then it was like
so deep.
crazy.
That's so deep.
Yeah.
And
like,
hold on.
Crazy.
And they're both Leo, right?
Yes, they're both Leo born age 16. They're both. I was like, it's crazy. Like,
Trip on this. Your moon is in Leo, so you have a soulmate connection with both of them.
I know, and I was just like, I didn't know anything about that either. So it's like crazy to show that. But like, so after my grandpa died, I hit him up because like I dated this boy in high school, right? Like, but like we like kind of disconnected or whatever. I was dating somebody else. I actually had the reason why I broke up with my boyfriend that I was with for like 10 years is because like my grandpa had passed, and I was like, I went to meet with my ex-boyfriend from high school because I was just like, dang, like my grandpa had the same birthday as you, you know, and you kind of remind me of him a little bit. Wow. And I was just like, yo, we should like reconnect, right? And like he was like, oh yeah, like let's hang out. So like I went and I hung out with him, and I was just like, damn, like wait a minute, like there's something about. I was like, dang, like I feel like this connection to you, like this is crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, and I just couldn't like explain it. I was just like, what? Like, I don't know. Are you my soulmate or something? Like, you know, I don't know. Like, and I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend kind of started talking to him for a little bit after that, but then we kind of got it once the nodes shifted into Gemini and Sagittarius. Like we separated. Like so I haven't like talked to him in a while either because it got crazy. Like I felt crazy. Like I told him I was like I feel crazy. Like I don't know what's going on. Right. And like it was just like he's just like I feel like you're just going through a lot. Like I don't know. And I was just like I don't know. I feel crazy. Right. But we've talked again. But like I still feel like I'm like yo I feel like connected to you. Like there's something about you. Like I'm supposed to be with you. Right. And I don't know. Like
right.
it's insane. Like I don't know. Like I just had to say that. I was just like yo this is crazy. Like but like and I was like I don't know. Like I'm hoping the nodes because like it's funny because when I first talked to him the nodes were in, and when I was 16, the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio. Like, so now I'm like, yo, the nodes are about to go back into Taurus and Scorpio.
So it's
and
gonna
I was
come
like,
back around.
And I was like, yo, that's insane. Like, I was just like, it's crazy. And I was just like, I don't know, I have to say that. Obviously, I'm like, yo, this is just crazy to know that or to feel that. Like, I've only felt that way with one person in my whole life. I'm 33. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's insane. But like to see that, because I was like, talk about manifestation. To be like, I want like one day I'm gonna be with a guy that's just like my grandpa. Like, I want to be like with it. And now it's like, oh, here's a guy with the same birthday as your grandpa.
Yo, so you manifesting it.
Like, tell me that's not crazy. Tell me that's crazy. Like, I was just like, like, what? And I was like losing my mind because I was like, wait a minute, this is insane. Like, I was like, no way. Like, this, and it's crazy because, like, to think of, like, I feel like this boy, like, set me off into, like, a spiritual awakening. Like, I was like, okay, I kind of, yeah, like, definitely, like, I was like, because I was, like, working, like, not really into anything. Like, I was, like, in a bad relationship. Like, people, like, I was just not in the best place, right? And then it was just, like, this guy came around again. Like, this is, like, the second time. It's, like, if I would say a past life in this life, right? Like, when I was younger in high school, I already felt the way, like, oh, like, this is crazy. But, you know, I'm just young and dumb. We don't know anything then. But then, like, later I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you kicked off a whole entire spiritual awakening. Like, I'm never going to be the same after this. Like, so I'm like, yo, like, the reason I'm into astrology and all this stuff is because of him. Like, the reason I'm into, like, all the spiritual things I do now, like meditate, all this other stuff, is because of this boy. Like, it's crazy.
That's so deep.
Yeah, it's insane. So I was just like, oh my God, like, I don't know if this has anything to do with my chart, but I have to let the peace dealer know. This is what I've been dealing with.
And I really do appreciate, once again, you telling me this, right? Because it really helps give me the proper insight, let's just say, into how to see all this. And also into, you know, personally, how do I say it? I would say into personally also, yeah, right. This nature of how to see the sun moon and really also how this works. So, in vain to that, the next thing I was gonna say, which was just so ironic because your reaction to Pluto opposite your sun, I kind of felt low key bad because I'm like, yay, she's done with the sun. Oh, now it's her moon's turn.
Yeah. Sir.
And it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna be as harsh as the sun, but yeah, I think you're getting prepared for. I mean, and you've already had Saturn go over your opposite your moon. How was that?
Sir, it was terrible. I felt like I was in a forced time out.
Jesus
Christ. Yeah. Oh wait, let me add this also. The guy that I'm talking to, he's a Capricorn rising. He's a Cap rising Leo with the Aqua moon.
No way.
Yeah. So that's why when I sat down with him, when I met up with him, he told me, I was like, oh, like, do you have your birth time or whatever? Because I'm like into astrology now. Like, tell me it or whatever. And I looked at it and he said, and then it said it was a Cap rising. And I was like, me too.
And so that's the guy who you talked to in high school with your grandpa's birthday.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh
my fucking
rising.
God. That's insane. That's insane.
Right? I forgot to say that. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, our chart layout is the same. God damn it.
So that means that sincerely, you are his partner. That's how it works because you fall in his seventh house.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy, right?
That's wild.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was just like, it was
That's
crazy
wild.
to look at that. Like, it's insane. Yeah.
I can't with
I,
y'all cancers. Y'all have like a whole feature length film as a life. Like it's so
sir, my life feels like a movie. I feel like that.
yo,
Like,
straight up. You can pitch it to
like,
like a studio. They'll be like, "Oh my gosh,
hell
we need to get
yeah.
that right. This is
Hell
insane.
yeah. That's a fact. I
Man,
was
this
like,
is
that's
your real
exactly.
life. Are you sure? Like what? Wow.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Like, I feel crazy because I don't know if it's the Leo, like the Aries Mars or my Leo moon, because like every time I express myself, like even like talking to you right now, like I'm always like at 100. Right. So I'm
Right,
like,
right.
I feel like sometimes it's like I'm performing my emotions.
That
Right. So
is
I'm like a
Leo.
cancer.
That is Moon in
Right.
Leo. That is Moon in
Right.
Leo. Oh my God. Wow.
Like
I
I'm like
thank you
always
so
like
much for saying that. I appreciate you so much. Like that was the best definition of Moon and Leo I've ever heard. Yeah.
like like it's like I'm just extra like but yeah, like I feel like I have to tell people that, like even when it's like I'm trying to like that guy I was talking to, I was like, when I'm talking to you, like I know it sounds dramatic, like but this is just how I communicate, like I mean he's a Leo, but like so I guess Leos understand, but like it's like everything is gonna sound way more like intense or whatever, just like more dramatic. And I'm just like, it's real though. It's sincere emotion. Like I guess that's the cancer, in me. But like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh.
That's very revealing.
Yeah. I'm glad that makes sense. I'm like, oh my gosh. I feel like a crazy person, sir.
And I mean, I
Like,
don't blame you though, because you have so many like I actually know someone, I used to know someone in Vegas who was born like a couple days after you. She has her moon in Virgo. And
mhm.
like that's how I knew y'all were like, because like her life story was like a movie. She even said she's gonna make a movie about it. So I was like, so
Yeah.
I just realized it right now when you said Mars and Aries, because I'm like, wait, she has Mars and Aries. Oh snap. So yeah, we actually talked for a short period, but like that was really interesting because um you have your moon square Pluto. So
Mhm.
be very painful and intense. And then the moon's in the eighth. So you feel like you're performing your emotions, but you feel like you're performing it to other people.
Yes, yes. That's what I feel like. Well, I'm not like the thing is also like me now, like I'm more emotional like being older. Like I never really was like I'm very like I don't know if that's the Capricorn, but like very like I don't like tell anybody if I'm like upset or like I just hold all my emotions at like me now, like I feel like I got cracked open, like obviously in the last couple of years, So now I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, Erica has all these emotions. Like, where did this come from? Like everything's hidden, right? And I don't know if
Oh
that's like the eighth house, right? Like my moon is hidden, right?
no, thank
My
you.
emotions.
Yeah, eighth, 12th, and fourth house is hidden. That is very true.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's like I don't do so like I feel like I'm a whole new person to other people because they're like, oh, like where was this? Like, everybody's like, where are these emotions? Like now I'm like bringing it out, but like they're not just like emotion. Like I'm emotional. It's like no, these are deep. Like this is deep emotions. Like this is not like and obviously I don't know the moon square Pluto is like the mom issues with mom. I was like yes. We have a lot of those, I was like, there's a lot. Like, there's definitely like a lot going on. Like, I don't know. Like, but also like, what about my seventh house? Like the sun in the seventh house? Because I heard the sun doesn't like the seventh house. I was like, is that like, what is that?
Seriously.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't know. There's like, I don't know. I have a lot going on. I just feel like because I've like looked at like a bunch of my like my sisters, like family, but like I have this like spread out chart. Like everybody else has more like, their planets are in one place, and I'm like, I feel like everything's kind of spread out except for the 12th house.
No, see, and that's the thing. Like your 12th house will forever be a mystery coming into.
Yeah,
But thankfully, we're in Sagittarius season, so you're gonna understand it like never before. And
yeah.
what you need to understand about your 12th house is that it follows no rules. You actually
Yeah.
hold yourself back with this because it's so magic. You literally have to convince yourself that you're crazy so you don't like step into it, because with this energy, especially with Neptune like on the rising, anything you visualize or imagine and it's already happened. And so it's
Yeah.
like, right, and but see, since you're not necessarily fully aware of that,
Mhm.
it's not like it's like it's like you can think about something after it's happened, and then I wish I could say it the right way too, but you're as you learn to get out your own way, this is legitimately supernatural, like ascended perception ability. It's an element of your spiritual path, but because your sun is in Cancer, this is actually how you transcend your own lifestyle. And this is why, working from home is going to be so much better for you, because the karmic limitation of Saturn really adds the delays and difficulty, but you've already had your Saturn return. So
Mhm.
at 27, 28 degrees, it's not only really powerful, the Taurus quincunx now with the yod, with your moon or sun, is what stabilizes this. And normally, what's at the point of the quincunx is the point of difficulty, which is that lost sense in the 12th house where you don't always see the way forward, but you don't have to see the way forward because
Mhm.
you are the way forward. I wish that didn't sound so cliche, but
Mhm.
it's kind of like when you feel like you don't need to see it, you already. I wish I could explain it better than that, because it's there. It's hard to find human words for it because it doesn't
Yeah.
follow logical convention, basically. But
Mhm.
I guess the best way to see it is it will feel crazy, and when you follow that crazy notion and have faith in it, it'll always work out.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's like my biggest thing right now. Just that I have faith in my own crazy. Like I can't like worry about what anybody else is
Mhm.
thinking about. Like that's the thing. I'm like, okay, you guys are just not like you don't understand. I don't fully understand, but I understand. Like I know the one thing I know is that when I don't go with my intuition, when I don't go with any, like I always fail. Like
Oh,
every
that's
time I
so
get
deep.
mad, when I'm just like, yo, like I should have just went with what my gut instinct was. Like
Right,
because
right.
every time I don't, I fail like miserably. You
That's so
know, so
deep.
it's like trusting myself now to just follow myself, even if it doesn't make sense to
Right,
me
right.
or
And
anybody else.
that's another way with the 12th house. Like, what doesn't make sense now will make all the sense in the world after you do it.
Yes, that's a
Mhm.
fact. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. I'm like, I have to like just continue to, I don't know, have faith and trust myself and be like, I know it's crazy, but like, I don't know. Like, this is also like, it might be crazy, but it's also like fun, right? Like the other part of this is like to me, like where it's like I feel insane. Like I feel like three different people at the same time. Where it's
It's
like
like a
I'm
hidden
obs-
adventure.
yes, like this is so fun. Like I was like, this is like exciting and scary at the same time, and but like it's like oh my god, like but I'm observing this, right? Like it's like okay, I know this is crazy. Like I felt crazy. Like even when the node shifted, I was like, I feel like I'm in a video game. Like I feel like I'm in
That
Streets of
is
Rage.
so
Like
awesome.
I feel crazy, but like I understand. Like I'm supposed to be like 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 I've been documenting this. Like I'm like, okay, let me write down like certain things, like my how I feel, like all these things, because everybody's like, yo, she's crazy, like
Ah,
and I was like, no, like I'm like, okay, I know it sounds crazy. Then I'm just like, okay, I'm not even telling you guys about this. Like I
mm.
know it sounds crazy, but like it makes complete sense to me. Like it's not supposed to. We're not supposed to understand it yet,
Right,
right?
right, right. Because remember, your
Like
Uranus is attached to the future, and it's the ruler of your second house. So you're constantly outside of the box. And that's
yeah.
kind of what you're indirectly leading people to come into. By the way, Pluto on your 11th house means that inescapably you are inadvertently going to perform or form a cult around you, a cult like following that actually understands the performance of your soul, because that moon square Pluto is people just hating because they're afraid of you and they're intimidated. And
Oh my gosh, yes.
oh yes, and see, like
I feel that.
what you don't see with the 12th house is how psychic you are, because like you'll come up to someone skeptical of all this stuff, like, oh, I don't believe in psychic ability or try, and maybe you didn't even talk to them about it, and now you're just randomly talking to them about everything they were depressed about last night, and
Mhm.
now they think you're a witch. They're like, "Who is this?" And they will never tell you
Mhm.
this though. They'll never tell you this though. So like,
Mhm.
because they don't even know how to approach you with it. They're like, I don't want you to think I'm crazy, or they're just not new to it. So this is a seventh house high priestess Cancer power and psychic power that you perform for others with the eighth house in Leo, where you're there's a way you look into people's eyes where they're gonna feel seen. And that Pluto square is the intensity that will clash with how intensely people react to you. Because Pluto square moon could also be, psychological manipulation in a very like evil way, to be honest. That
Yeah, I feel that way. I feel
right.
like I could. The thing is, like, I feel like I have these powers that I could use for evil, but I don't. Like, I don't. That's not my intention,
No, I feel you.
But
I feel you, yeah.
but my imagination goes places when people make me upset.
Hmm, hmm.
And I'm just like, yo, like sometimes like, and I think of it like in movies or different things. Like I love horror movies, like my whole life, like especially anything to do with the church. Like I grew up Catholic, so
Okay.
like I went to Catholic school. Like I was in the church hardcore until I was like 16. Like, but like I love like The Exorcist, like
I
any
love
movie like that,
ooh.
like like I love that kind of stuff. Like I feel like or anything where where you could like feel like if I'm like, yo, if I feel this emotion enough, like somebody's gonna get hurt. Like
Okay, well,
like with this.
trip on this. The next thing I was literally about to say was that with your moon in the eighth house like this, you're an exorcist. Like that's that square to Pluto. Every
Oh,
time
I
I
love
do readings with Leo, right? Because
that.
now, in the way your soul deals with other people, the soul is unseen. That inner light
Mhm.
in you, you're gonna be performing, right? But like, it'll G check the shit out of people who have darkness in their hearts. Be like, "What's up? I see it." And like, if it can be extreme with that square to Pluto, that it can really cause people to project hatred or negative. Like that dark part within them will be hating on your inner light, whether they're conscious.
Mhm.
And square
Mhm.
the 11th can create trust issues. But here's the thing, because of your Saturn placement, because of Pluto here, you want to be careful of not, because like sometimes when you feel that darkness, sometimes that's Pluto wanting to penalize someone for trying to like mess with you. Like,
Mhm.
and this energy is not politically correct. So like sometimes that darker part of you will do it anyway, even unconscious to you. If like your
Mhm.
cancer is too kind, let's say someone through black magic, and that's what you're feeling. So I'm just trying to kind of illustrate that sometimes where your imagination goes isn't necessarily always because you're being evil or thinking about being evil. It's because someone has to get this justice. Like someone messed with the Leo planet. You're not gonna mess with the Leo. So this is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. That's a fact. Oh my god,
It's
that's
just the
so
way,
funny.
let's just say it's like an aspect of your spirit guide. Like your spirit guides are not like compassionate, like airy fairy. We forgive you. It's like if you fuck with Erica, we're fucking you up. Like it's a
Yeah.
we're ruining your life. Like it is what
That's
it is.
exactly how I feel. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I'm like, I need to be in a good space. Like if I'm in a good space, like I'm always fine. But if I get into a bad space, I'm like, yo, I go very dark. Like I
Mhm.
don't like to be there, but I do like to explore that also. The thing is like it's like I'm very curious, like so I like to like, explore these different like facets of myself. But
Mhm.
like I'm just like, yo, I have this dark side and I don't come off like that. Like I'm the like cheerleader, fun, peppy one, right? Like that's what everybody looks at me as, right? And I'm like, no, there's like a multiple sides to me. Like I can turn dark quick, right? I just don't put
Yeah,
that on the surface. Right?
that's deep.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I'm like that's the Leo moon. I was like that's me, but I didn't know. Like then I'm like, oh, in the eighth house,
Right.
right? And I was like the eighth house is my favorite house to study. Like I just think it's like so fun.
It
Like
is
I don't know, to
fascinating.
me, right? To me, it's fun. Like, but they're like, oh, anything in the eighth house, right? But I'm like, is the eighth house even like? I mean, I don't know. Like, is it the 12th house or the eighth house? Like, which one's more deep? Like, is it the 12th house, the one where it's like, I mean, we don't know anything. It's like the house of mystery, which I love mystery. Like, I love anything mysterious.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. Like, but it's also like spiritual, right? Like, so I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm still studying all this stuff, but like, yeah, I feel very spiritual. Like, it's funny because like my mom, she's like so like not like anti-spiritual, but she's like the person that's like, I can't find like religion. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, I just don't believe. Like, I feel like scared to die because I don't know religion. Right? Like, or I'm not like tied to a religion. And we always fight about it because I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, everybody's just tied. There's not this specific religion you have to be a part of. Right? Like, that's one of the things like me and my mom like go at it about. Right? And it's just like crazy because I feel like they're opposite. Like my mom, I'm what is it? My parents are complete opposites. My mom's white, my dad's black. My dad is like happy-go-lucky. Like my mom's like all about death. Like all she thinks about is death. She's a Gemini. They're both Geminis, born 5 days apart.
No way.
My mom is a Scorpio moon, right?
Of course.
You're right. She's a Scorpio moon, and my dad is a Virgo moon.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, but like it's so funny because I told her, I was like, she's like, I don't know, you believe in this astrology stuff and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, and I was like, you play out the Scorpio moon archetype, so like dead on. Like all she thinks about is that she's like, okay, I need you guys to get your stuff. Like, what do you want? How do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Like, we've been doing this my whole life. Like,
oh my god, that is so Moon and Scorpio. I'm done right now.
Like, that's how she is. Like,
wow.
It's so crazy. Like, it's so crazy. But she also, like, it's so funny because, like, she's, like, very, like, Gemini, too. Like, my mom, like, her personality is so extreme. Like, it's, like, that. But then she's, like, oh, like, she'll be yelling. And then she'll be, like, oh, straight up, like, oh, and then she'll be, like, oh, hi. Like, she should be an actress. Like, she really should. Like, I was, like, it's crazy. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, this is who, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm both of them. You know, I'm just this, like, mix of like, I don't know, these two poles, but
that puts so much more context. I appreciate you saying that, like, because we do inherit these things from our parents too. I learned, so that's very deep. That's very deep.
Yeah, for sure.
And your Pluto is near her moon, so like that's gonna intensify your understanding of her too. So you're a daughter of two angels. I love that. I always feel like that's significant.
That's so funny. And my sister, so it's me and my sister. My sister's a Cancer. She's born 2 weeks before me. She's a Cancer sun, Cancer moon. So it's like funny that but we're completely opposite. Like, my sister's like, it's so funny. My sister's like, when I think of Cancer, like, I don't think of you. Like, in that archetype at all. And she's like, I do not think of, like, she's like, I'm more of a Cancer. My sister is way more of a Cancer than me.
I love
it. Like, so I don't know. It's just funny in the house where it's like we got the 2 Geminis and the 2 Cancers, you know? And I was like, I don't know. I think Kanye's a Cancer rising. See, my parents are Cancer rising, too.
They're both Cancer risings?
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
They're both born in the morning. They're both born, like, early in the morning. 5 days apart. Like, it's crazy. Wow. Right? Like,
that's some twin flame stuff right there.
Yes, that's the only way. That's the only reason they're together. I was like, that's the only way. I don't understand how else you guys would be together. But, like, it makes sense in the chart.
Wow. You really are. You really are in a movie. This is wild.
Yeah. Like, yo, it's definitely wild. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's good to study your family, right?
Oh yeah, that really is some of the biggest magic when you start to see the patterns and it's like, wow, this can't be a coincidence. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. Ooh, let me see the what about the like Venus square my North Node? I don't know. I keep seeing that as like one of the high things on there, and I was like, what is that? My love versus my life path.
I was just thinking about that. That was actually the next thing I was gonna say. I have Venus and Taurus square North Node in Aquarius. So we kind of have different versions of it. Basically, right. And I realized your North Node, the ruler of that is on your rising. So, you know, because you have this super magical 12th house that, if anything, has the audacity to just break all the rules and just kind of like make whatever possible. You want to think that the South Node, by the way, is unlocking your full potential. So what didn't make sense has now unraveled, and like you can make it fully your own. And once the North Node goes into Taurus, you'll have manifested that by like February.
Okay.
So
Okay.
given that 12th house, you have a very important destiny. And that's what I love about 88. Y'all restart the destiny wheel. Before us, born in 1990 with North Node Aquarius, take this knowledge and distribute it to the collective, because we're supposed to be weird. We're supposed to be different. We bring in the new age of Aquarius. That comes from Pisces. And that is like a, to me, I always joke and say, this is y'all last lifetime. You're like, oh my gosh, good riddance. I'm done with this earth. Like, I'm out here.
Facts.
Like, right. You're working with 97, and I think 60, another older year that is North, 79, that's North Node Virgo, and
Mhm.
they're heaven and earth. But like I like to see is the 88 North Node path, y'all brought magic back. And so
Okay.
the rest of the North Nodes were unpacking and distributing that higher knowledge. So because you're taking the South Node of Virgo, as a Capricorn rising, you do have a very critical philosophy. Like the way you kind of believe in things isn't really wishy-washy. It's based on facts. However, your attitude is very quantum. And what I mean by that is you're able to see into the metaphysical nature of reality in your immediate environment, hence like magical synchronicities and just magic. But what you're doing this lifetime, when the North Node is in a third, it's your destiny to speak up about what you think about. And in Pisces, it's gonna be the delusional, crazy sounding things that aren't delusional, but so metaphysical. You're going to be able to break down the practical understanding of that which we can't see. And it's like once you step into that destiny, this is what trines your sun. So it's like you're taking
Mhm.
ideas and attitude in the third, and you're expressing this in the seventh to other people through your psychic power. And this could be talking
Mhm.
about anything Piscean related to the divine, to ghosts, to magic, to divinity.
Mhm.
Even if you were an atheist, the way that you would speak about this would stimulate people's imagination. But the key here is you're taking the resources of the ninth house Virgo. So it's like you're bringing a critical perspective to make real practical sense of that which is beyond anything that makes sense. And when you have these
Okay.
and when you have these conversations about the divine, that steps you into your destiny. And so seeing it square Venus, what I've experienced with Venus and Taurus, I have Venus and Taurus in like my 12th house region, but
Mhm.
my north node is in Aquarius. So my destiny is to go out there and network. But my Venus is in
Mhm.
Taurus. I want to cuddle with my pillow all day, and I want to
Yeah.
stay inside. So this is how my own Venus gets in the way of my destiny.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
Mm.
to, right? It's just
Yeah.
learning how to balance it. So I feel like the Venus in Gemini enhances this because you're going to be able to integrate that attitude in enlightened ways into your lifestyle. You just don't want to get so caught up in your head that
Mhm.
you forget to embrace the Piscean attitude, especially with Neptune transiting here, because the Gemini Pisces clash is like Pisces trolling the living bejesus out of Gemini. Like, oh my God,
Mhm.
Gemini's gonna get in their head, show them this synchronicity. Watch, watch. And Gemini's like, this doesn't compute. This doesn't compute. This doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to make sense, right? Because
Yeah.
magic is magic, right? And so this will
Yeah.
now enhance Gemini by being able to accept certain of these things. And
Mhm.
that's kind of a way to see the square, especially from the third to sixth house. Every attitude or skill, because now the third house is also skills. So it's your destiny to establish these divine skills and integrate them with your heart in Venus. Which, by the way, yeah, I kind of noticed that too. I'm like, wow, okay, this isn't more the subdued, chill, laid back Cancer. Oh, Moon in Leo, Mars in Aries, Venus in Gemini.
Mhm.
You're fun. Like
Mhm.
it's amazing. So yeah, how do you feel about that interpretation of the nodes?
Oh no, I mean I agree with it. Like I feel like the Pisces and the Gemini can't compute like that thing because like I feel like with the Gemini it's like I don't know, my brain is moving like so like so fast, right? I feel like there's a lot going on, and then the Pisces is just like everything is magical, like everything means something. Does that
Yeah.
mean something? Where like, and it's just like crazy trying to fit those two things together. Like I don't know, like it's just like, but also I don't know when I look at that like when I'm looking at Venus, because Venus is supposed to represent love, right? Money and love. Like, so it's like my life path, I feel like has always been stunted. Like, love has interfered with my life path. Like, it's like trying to find something where it's like I can like integrate my life path with who I love, right?
Do that.
Like, I can't have somebody that's gonna interfere with that. Like my last boyfriend, like it was just like he like the spiritual part of me was dead with him, right? Like he was a very fact based. He's an Aries with a Virgo moon, and everything needed to be like, what are the details? What does it mean? What is this? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like it
Ah!
just is gonna work out. Like it's gonna work out. Like we gotta just have faith in things. And like he didn't believe, right? Like I can't have
Oh
somebody who
yeah.
doesn't believe,
Virgos
right?
hate
So it was like,
Virgos hate to believe. They're like, you better give me the
yeah,
facts right now. Stop
they
playing.
needed the facts. That's like
Right.
he needed facts. Like it was just like, but it was good though. Like I felt like I
That was
was
hilarious.
tested. Like everything happened for a reason, right? Like I was with him this whole time, and it's like really tested me. Like in that, and I was like, okay, I cannot. The next person I'm with, like it can't be that. Like I mean, that's why it was crazy because like all this stuff had happened. Like I felt like everything happened for a reason. Like my grandpa died a month later. I'm over here meeting with like my old boyfriend who had the same birthday as my grandpa. And it's funny because my grandparents, they were like together forever until they both passed. But my grandma is a year older than my grandpa, and this guy, I'm a year older than him. Like as well. And the only reason I dated him in high school is because like I was like, all right, well my grandpa, like my grandma dated my grandpa and he's dope. Like and he's a year older than him, right? Like I would never date a guy younger than me. Like
Okay.
ever, right? So I was just like, yo, all this stuff happened and it's crazy. I actually told my other ex boyfriend about this and he was just like, oh, so you just like definitely like broke up with me off of some like epiphany shit.
Oh my
And I
god.
was like, yes.
That is
Like it was,
hilarious.
it was just, I mean, it was time. Like, anyways, that relationship was dead, but it was just like, oh my god, like all this stuff happened. But like, that's what I felt like. I was like, oh my god, like my life path kind of like open, and it was crazy because like when you look at that, like the nodes, I think was Cancer and Capricorn at that time. Or I think it was like the North Node was in Cancer when I like this all happened, and like the other guy, we're both a Capricorn rising, so I think it was like I think it was the node was in Cancer before, yeah, before Gemini. So it was like in that seventh house, and then it was like that's when we like got together. Like I don't know, like so. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Like that's when my life. I felt like my life turned into a movie in 2019. I mean, everybody's life did.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
And
like
you know what I appreciate about that though? 2020 was the year you started chapter 1 of this new movie.
yes, yes, that's a fact. That is
Mhm.
a fact. That
Mhm.
is exactly what happened. Like it was crazy. Like to see this, and I'm like, I don't care. This is supposed to happen. Like everything that happened, I was like, this is supposed to happen. Like I'm the type of person like right now. I'm like, this is everything's happening for a reason. Like people are like losing their minds. I was like, I understand. Like I feel crazy, but like everything is supposed to be everything is playing out like it's supposed to play out.
Yeah.
Right? Like people need like we need a shakeup. Like I was like, what are you guys doing out here? Like I feel like everybody's like The Walking Dead. Right?
Yo, straight up.
Like I was like, we need a shakeup, and I mean, I don't know, maybe that's that 12th house where it's like, yo,
Hey,
we
but
need a shakeup.
okay, so you also want to think of the 12th house Sag as you have like transcendent insight, especially with Neptune. It like gives you Neptune goggles. So like you can see an aspect of people that no one else may ever see.
Interesting.
And this is what's going to, let's just say, challenge this nature of how deeply you're in a position to reflect back what you channel from Neptune. Because being an instrument of Neptune makes you psychic AF. And you kind of have the other version of this, like Cancer risings with Neptune in the seventh and Cap makes them super psychic because basically in the seventh house Cap, they're able to psychically get physical sensations about who other people are. And I think you have the other version of this where you embody those physical sensations, but instead of just feeling it, you can show people what you feel about them, and it freaks them the crap out. I don't think you're always aware of how on point you be. Like, you can literally speak to what people were feeling about you, and they could be like talking shit, and like your moon and Leo will respond to them the moment they talk shit in their head, and they'll be freaked out. And maybe you might not be aware this is happening. It's just how, it's so intuitive how you kind of communicate. And I want to kind of illustrate Mercury opposite Neptune with Chiron also offers this intuitive sense of healing, of just knowing how to touch or talk to someone and hear the vocal tonality. So it's very difficult because your mind is constantly going to feel that vulnerability, but it makes you a
Mhm.
super powerful healer for other people.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering about Chiron too, because I was like, I feel that too. Like after studying that, I'm like, I do feel that. Like I feel like that. Like I could go to the underworld with people. Like I feel like it's like I make it. I don't know. Like I try to have like make it okay or create this environment where it's like we can talk about. Like I love talking about death and grief, and like stuff like that. Like it doesn't bother me to. Like it doesn't bother me to talk about anything that is like super deep or super like I don't know, like kind of like I've always felt like a guide or a counselor. Like that's something I wanted to be when I was younger,
Hmm.
or to do something like that just to like talk to people, right? Like I mean I've done therapy like now, like these past like couple of years, like I did that and I was like, oh, this is like cool. Like I could do something like this, you
Hmm.
know, like that
Right.
type of job. But like I
Hmm.
don't feel weird like talking about deep topics or like things where, this is like the same type of thing right now. Like I'm talking to you. It's like we're talking about all this crazy shit. Like, and it doesn't bother me at all. Like I'm always that person that just is like, oh, let's just talk about it. Like I feel like I can
Right.
create a good environment. Like it's not like weird. Like when some people are like, oh, I don't want to get too deep, or I don't want to be like, no, we can talk about it. You can talk about anything. Even if
And
you're not crazy. That's the thing. Me, I'm like, you're not crazy because I feel
And see,
crazy all the time. What's up?
that's another part of the 12th house. It's like you hold that space for people to share their wildest visions with you.
Yes, yes. I always tell people to do that. It's funny, one of my cousins, like, he kind of was like going through it, and he was just like, and he ended up having to go like, to the psych ward a few times. Like, and he was like,
Oh,
after
wow.
this is over, he was like, Erica, you're the only one that like understood or wanted to like listen to me, like that listened to like what I was saying. You're the only one that understands what I was trying to say and communicate. Like versus like everybody else saying like I'm crazy. I was like, you're not crazy.
Right.
I was like, you're not crazy. Like, there's a lot of other factors of things happening, but like, you're not crazy. Like, I'm the person to say that you're not crazy. Just like when Kanye's like, oh, they said I'm bipolar. I'm like, this. I'm like, you're not crazy. Like, I'm like, you're not crazy, sir. Like, I'm tired of everybody making people like crazy, right? Like, I
Straight
don't
up.
like that
Right.
term. I'm
It's
like, you're
very
not
dismissive.
crazy.
It's very
Yes.
dismissive. Yeah.
You feel crazy, but you're not crazy.
And then
Like,
really, stupid people call smart people crazy. So that's really, it's just stupid.
yes,
So it is what it is.
that's a
But
fact.
I think like your presence really does heal people in helping them be more sincere around you and being sincere in themselves, which is really awesome. And then Jupiter is the abundance you manifest in Taurus. So keep that in mind because you're in for a huge payday. Now that you've had Jupiter go through your second, and then once the North Node goes into Jupiter, it's going to unlock Pluto here. You're going to come in there with a lot of career success through your own independent, work. So I hate to cut this call short, but did
Oh
you
no,
have any
you're good.
final questions at all?
No, that was just, I was going to ask you about Jupiter, but you just talked about Jupiter because I was like, yeah, what about Jupiter? So, no, that was my last question.
Beautiful. All right. So, yeah, other than that, I'm going to send you this recording. Let's keep in touch
Okay.
for sure. And
Yes, for sure.
you stay blessed as always.
And you do. Oh, also one thing, keep those magical moon messages. Those are the bomb.
I got
I
you.
love
I
those.
got
Yo, you
you.
killing it.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right.
All right. You stay blessed as always.
You too. Bye.